Hi, this is Jim Feldman. This is the second in a series of 6 videos from PitchingMagic that will help you teach a beginning pitcher how to pitch, even if you don't know anything about pitching technique. This video deals with the grip and the release of the ball. I mean, what can be simpler than pick it up and throw it? Well, what we're trying to do with this PitchingMagic system is get the kids to be set up for long-term success. The first step is you do indeed pick up the ball. Now, you do not want to let the ball rest in the palm of the hand. Move it comfortably away from the palm and hold it out in the fingers a little bit. Smaller hands may have some difficulty, but at a minimum, there must be this little gap between the thumb and the first finger. Now, the grip should be firm enough to hold the ball, but not so tight as to stress the forearm. The fingertips should extend over the seams of the ball, and the pads of the fingers rest on the skin of the ball right next to the seams. The pitcher should feel the seam with her fingers. There are lots of choices of to which seams to use. The 2-seam grip and the 4-seam grip are the most common. Use the 4-seam grip to throw the ball straighter with more control. Also, all the other fielding positions on the field use the 4-seam grip. So find the letter C, or the backwards letter C, and wrap your fingers around that. Generally, beginning pitchers will place 3 fingers on the seam. Students with small hands may want to use all fingers. Older players may switch to a 2-finger grip at some point. Use a ball with a stripe on it where the stripe goes around all 4 of the seams on a single rotation. The middle of the grip should be centered on that stripe to start with, but that may change a little bit as we go through the rest of the step. Now, the thumb on the other side of the ball is not on the stripe. It should be used to comfortably keep the ball from falling out of the hand. Moving the thumb to the stripe causes some stress in the forearm, and as will become evident in later videos, the pitching motion needs to be relaxed and loose. Anything that causes tightness should not be done, starting with the placement of the thumb. In a 3-finger grip, the little finger either lies on the side of the ball or can even be off the ball. Stability of the ball is the most important thing, and each student may achieve that slightly differently. At release, the ball rolls off the fingers. Now, the ball must always roll off 2 fingers, not 3, even when using the 3-finger grip. The middle finger is longer, and the ball will actually be rolling off just 1 finger. That introduces some instability and produces a movement that is not repeatable. Slightly turn the hand one way or another to get 2 fingers coming off the ball at the same time, or simply lift the middle finger out of the way. Practice letting the ball roll down the hand until the stripe is straight. Adjust the grip as necessary to get the stripe straight, perhaps by twisting the ball a little bit or twisting the hand just a little bit. As the ball rolls off the fingers, at the last instant, when you can feel just the fingertips on the ball, push the ball with the fingers to add a little bit more spin. It may add a little velocity as well, but keep the wrist loose during the finger push. Before slow motion, high-definition video became commonly used, most people believed that the wrist snapped during the release, and that was widely taught as a fundamental aspect of pitching for many years. The video study has since shown that the wrist does not snap until after the ball is released. It occurs as the arm starts slowing down and the wrist is allowed to be loose and floppy. So that's the basics on the grip and release. The hand is the only thing touching the ball, so this is a very important step and something that you need to pay a lot of attention to if you want your students to advance to reach their ultimate potential. Keep coming back to the grip as needed. In the next step, we will be releasing the ball and moving forwards, and a key point will be getting the stripe completely vertical, so it's good for now for the student to be able to do that. Now, it's beyond the scope of a beginning lesson to practice breaking pitches, the rise ball, the drop ball, curve, slider, and so on. But it is something that you want to prepare your students to be able to do it right from the first time she releases the ball. Basically, what makes a ball break, which is to move in something other than a straight line, is a buildup of air pressure on one side of the ball. The high pressure will push the ball away from the high pressure zone, and there's often a corresponding low pressure zone on the opposite side of the ball that will offer a path of least resistance that enables the ball to move. As the ball moves towards the target, it has rotation that moves the seams on one side of the ball towards the target and those on the other side of the ball away from the target. In the 4-seam grip, there are 4 seams coming towards the target for each revolution of the ball. The seams moving towards the target due to friction with the air create that high pressure zone on that side of the ball. So a good 12-6 fastball builds up high pressure on the top of the ball and pushes it down more than just the force of gravity. The Magnus effect, which is the formula for showing how much a ball will break, is pretty complicated. But a quick takeaway is that having the axis of rotation perpendicular to the line of flight produces the most break. That is why teaching the student to get a straight up and down stripe is so important at this time. It will get extra downward movement on the ball as a beginner, but it will also help teach the hand control needed to get that stripe just right as she starts throwing other breaking pitches. Also, the faster the ball spins, the more high pressure will be created, and this will cause the ball to break more. If your student's fastball has more break than other pitchers' fastballs, it makes it harder for the batter to hit the ball squarely, even if the extra movement is only an inch or two. The 2-seam fastball has only 2 seams hitting the air on each rotation, so it creates less high pressure and therefore less break. On the other hand, if the spin is not exactly quite 12-6, the extra seam pattern on one side of the ball compared to what you get on a 4-seam fastball will create a high pressure area to form on that side of the ball, pushing it horizontally. The faster the pitch and the higher the revolutions per second are, up to the point where the ball starts to create turbulence as opposed to a stable air pressure pocket, the more break there is. A good grip needs to be strong enough so that the ball does not slip in the pitcher's hand before release. Slippage will diminish the amount of spin. Holding the ball with the pads of the fingers just touching the seam on the skin part of the ball just beyond the rotation point will have the least amount of slippage. So as you're teaching the beginners, help them to get all the little details correct right from the beginning. This will help them to become better pitchers later on and will ultimately separate their performance from the performance of the students who do not pay close attention to the details.